So I am here with Sabine St. Pierre. I am Donna Spector. I am the host of Get to Know Hopkinton at parkbench.com. Hopkinton, I'm also a realtor in town. I work for Real Living Suburban Lifestyle. I'm also Mike and Olivia's mom, which most people know me by, or Steve Spector's. So Sabine owns Sabine's Cuisine personal chef services right here in Hopkinton, but you go all over, correct?
I do. I travel
everywhere. She travels. So we'll get into that in a minute, but what she does is create custom, healthy, delicious meals for just about everybody.
Yep.
Right? And so we'll delve into that a little bit more. But I met you through a fabulous workshop that you had here, that you hosted right here in your backyard, which was a lot of fun. And you did something creative. You paired it with one of the local wine.
Yes, we coordinated with Marty's.
Marty's, right.
Yes, and they provided rosés for the evening while we grilled everything.
Right, and I had a few of those. They were delicious.
Yes,
yes.
They were delicious, and they paired very well with the food.
They did, did. Yes.
Yeah, and that was a gorgeous night. We really lucked out that night. It was fantastic. One of the best nights, I think.
And you have such a great spot here to do something like that. So
we do, and we love to be able to share it and host, and you know, and it's nice to be able to have those kind of workshops here when I can.
And not to be prejudiced against the men, because you had one for men
we
too,
because
that was a women's night.
Yes,
and then,
men's grill night.
Men's grill night.
We try to keep it well-rounded.
Yes, right. And I do remember some of the things, some of the tips about
testing for the doneness of steaks, so you don't cut into it.
So just to kind of circle back, tell me how you got interested in becoming a personal chef.
Sure. I actually went to school to be a teacher.
Okay.
So I went to UConn and got my bachelor's and master's, and I taught for almost 10 years.
Wow.
But about, 6 or so years into it, I decided that one of my passions has always been cooking. It was like therapy.
Yeah.
You know, come home from teaching the kids all day and just be in the kitchen, and I don't have to measure. That's why I don't love baking. Baking's a lot of measuring and tools and all that.
I'm with you on that one.
Right?
Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah.
Cooking, it's really about flavors and developing flavors, and so it's just sort of mindless chopping for me. And so I decided to take that passion on a suggestion of one of my aunts who's there in the restaurant business.
Okay.
And she was like, you really should be a personal chef. But that was 12 years ago.
Okay.
And personal chefs weren't really a thing then. It was hard to find anyone that was doing it. So I started cooking for my grandparents. My grandfather was diabetic.
Okay.
And then I cooked for a neighbor right over there for her family that wanted healthy meals.
Okay.
And then I started cooking for a teacher friend of mine and her husband, who also had some dietary restrictions. And I've always eaten healthy. I've been an athlete my whole life. So that was an easy transition. I mean, just heading right into the start of the business, healthy was always sort of my thing. But then the allergies came about.
Oh, right.
And, you know, in school, the kids couldn't have cupcakes anymore. You had to make sure you sent
that's
in.
So sad.
It was very sad, because, I mean, they love to do that.
Too.
And I just decided that that was a good fit with the clean eating and the healthy eating, was to kind of help people, because then people don't enjoy food anymore.
Right.
You know, when you have to have too many restrictions, you have all these allergies, food's not fun.
And it should be very pleasurable.
Should be, right? And social.
Right.
Just like our girl night.
Right.
So I've sort of made it my mission that I want to make sure everyone and anyone can eat good, delicious, nutritious food, no matter what their restrictions or allergies or.
So how do you do your research on the dietary restrictions and allergies, and when you're creating your recipes?
It's through people having resources. When I started, Kathleen Riel from Hopkinton, actually, Be Free for Me was gluten-free.
Okay.
And she was just trying to get products out there that, were good, healthy products for people that had gluten allergies or an intolerance or were celiac. So, it's people like that have great resources and can educate me. It's watching things, reading.
Right.
So it's just sort of a learn as I go kind of a thing. Right. I mean, now that I've been doing it for 12 years, it's a little bit more second nature, but there's new stuff coming out all the time, and new fads and new diets, and it's really about trying to help people understand which one is good for them.
Right.
And it's not necessarily one of these types of diets. It's sort of maybe a combination of things. And, you know, my motto is always everything in moderation.
Right. I like that. I do that too.
Well, I feel like as soon as someone tells me that I can't have something,
I know, then you want it.
Then I want it.
Right. I'm with you. I'm with you on that one.
So I try, you know, and I'm not a nutritionist. So, you know, with clients with very specific needs, they'll consult a nutritionist.
Okay, then
and
get
then
back
I
to
work
you.
with them.
Okay.
I'll work directly with the nutritionist.
Okay.
To help structure meals for them.
Okay.
And yeah, and so we just kind of go from there.
So you offer a smorgasbord of services, and
I
so it's
do.
not just the custom meals for clients.
Right.
Maybe you can get into more of all
Sure.
the services that you.
So the personal chef services was where I started,
Yeah.
and that was the weekly and biweekly meals. And then I missed teaching.
Okay.
And it's always, I miss teaching the kids.
Yes.
Because a lot of what I do is still teaching and teaching people how to eat healthy and
Right.
swaps and that kind
Right.
of thing. So the teaching,
So wait, let me just ask, what grade
Sure.
did you teach?
fourth grade.
Oh, that was my favorite year.
Yeah.
The fourth grade.
Fourth grade in
Yeah.
Southborough.
Mrs. Dowling. I had Mrs.
Oh,
Dowling.
see, you remember.
I do remember.
Hopefully people remember me. And I had two names.
I'm
'cause
sure
I
they will. They
started
will.
as Miss Hart, and then I
Okay.
became Mrs. St. Pierre.
All right, yeah.
So I missed that piece of it.
Okay.
And I had started doing some after-school cooking classes while I was still teaching and starting the business.
Okay.
So that kind of, you know, had started the idea of doing some kids cooking classes. And then I had a student in the class that had taken, I don't know, 3 or 4 of the workshops.
Oh, wow.
And she asked if I would do her birthday.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, sure. Why didn't I
Yes,
think of this?
Right. That was creative.
So a couple years in, I started the birthday party aspect.
Okay.
So it's interactive cooking parties with kids, and it ranges in ages from, you know, as young as 5. I do upwards of, you know, 13, 14.
Oh, okay.
Private
Right.
cooking lessons,
Nice.
semi-private cooking lessons, you know, for kids heading off to college.
Right.
It's a life skill.
That is a life skill, and good to know before you go to college.
Right.
Trust me.
You know,
yes,
and
yeah.
dorm food isn't all that it's cracked up
so
to
that's
be.
That is really a great idea.
Yeah,
Right
so-
before one of the college
Right.
prep
Food prep.
right, food prep. Yeah.
While they're
yeah.
out shopping for all their
Right,
stuff, you got to fit in
right.
a cooking class.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, I like
So
that.
I just started with, you know, her birthday party, and it was a
Okay.
pizza party. She
Fun.
wanted pizza.
Who doesn't like
and
pizza?
my dad actually used to own a pizza restaurant in Hopkinton.
Oh, what did
Pizza,
he-
and it was called Pizza Villa. It was
Okay.
right where Hopyo
Oh, okay.
is
yes.
now.
Oh, right,
Yeah, I was
right.
there for about 25 years.
Wow.
Long time.
That is a long time.
And I worked there, which again, probably I'm sure sparked my
Right.
passion for
So
cooking.
did you grow up in Hopkinton?
We didn't.
Okay.
We grew up in Grafton.
Okay,
But I think a lot of
close,
people
right, so
thought
you-
that we grew up in
yeah.
Hopkinton because I worked every Saturday night.
Sure, yeah.
And it kept me out of trouble.
There you go,
Which was
right?
good.
That's
My
important
parents
when you're
were
a
very
teenager.
smart. Very smart.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So that was my very first theme for my birthday parties
Okay.
was the Pizza Villa theme.
love that.
And then this particular student ended up doing, I think, at least 3 birthday parties with me.
Wow.
Over the couple of years.
So budding chef.
Budding chef, clearly interested in food,
Right.
and she would come up with, she wanted to do a Chinese theme and do wontons. And so
Very
she actually
creative for a
helped
young-
me evolve some of the themes that I have. We have a Mexican theme, a brunch theme, cake decorating theme, because
Okay.
all the kids
That's
like to
fun.
bake
Right.
and decorate cakes. So
I'm giving Sabine an idea because she's got a
love
wonderful
ideas.
YouTube show called the
Cleaner Plate.
A Cleaner Plate, which I think is very clever. But,
Thank you.
But maybe you should do a little series with picky eater children and some creative
Oh,
recipes.
I
for
like it.
them.
Yeah, we've had a little hiatus of the show. We need to bring it back, I think.
Right. Yeah, because Sabine has a twin sister, so if you go, I love it. It's very darling.
It's scary. There's another one of me.
The way you guys interact, it's very charming.
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching it, and I
Thank
watched
you.
the. I went way back into the archives, and I watched I think it might have been one of your first shows, but it was making the meatloaf with the sunflower seeds.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you, how do you think of something like that? What's your process? Do you have one, or you just kind of?
I think over the years, because I've done so much trial and error, and the nice thing about what I do is all my clients have individualized menus. So in a week, I could be cooking 15 different entrees.
Okay. Wow.
So I'll get ideas from other entrees that I've done that I could switch and make swaps into something else. And
Okay.
like the meatloaves, those came from a client that was on an elimination diet. So she literally handed me a list and was like, These are the 6 ingredients.
Right. Come up with something for me.
Beef, sunflower seeds, eggs, a couple other like garlic, onion.
Right.
And the first thing that popped into my head was meatloaf, because she couldn't do gluten.
Right.
So I'm like, well, I'll substitute the breadcrumbs for the sunflower with the sunflower seeds. And they actually had a really nice texture,
right?
Which was an extra bonus.
It looked really good.
It
looked delicious. I love meatloaf too.
Some people might be like, ugh, but meatloaf can be very one note. It's just very one texture. So the sunflower seeds, you can grind them up as fine as you want, but I kind of leave them a little crunchy so that it adds a little bit of texture to it and nutritional value as well.
Right. I remember you talking about that. So yeah, the cleaner plate. I have to watch that.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask you also, with talking about the cleaner plate, I also saw a video that you are actually a singer too. She's actually a very good singer.
Not many people know that.
I found your hidden talent. So my question is, do you sing for your clients while you're in the kitchen with them? Is that extra?
Well, some clients do let me play the radio.
Okay.
They'll have a sound system, and I put the radio on, and hopefully if they have any hidden cameras, they don't watch it, because I'm usually kind of like bebopping and singing in the kitchen. And, when I cook here, I do the same thing. I love music. I grew up in a musical family. My dad always listened to music. When he was a chef as well, and he always had music on in the kitchen. And my twin sister and I think it started pretty young. We realized that we could harmonize.
Yes,
I feel like
beautiful.
I can't sing solo.
The Star Spangled Banner. You guys did a great job.
That became our big thing, was to sing the Star Spangled Banner. So we did that at UConn for the UConn basketball games, and basketball was and is still big there.
Yes,
so we got to sing for the men's and the women's games
what an
at
experience.
UConn, and we even did it at the in Hartford at their big stadium there. And we've done it at like some Olympic trials for gymnastics a long time ago. We haven't done it in a while, but
that's great.
It's, again, one of those passions that I won't make a career out of it, but it's something fun to do.
But you could actually.
Yes.
You girls are very talented.
Oh, well, thank you. I actually, the Troublemakers, which is the group in town, I just joined them last year.
Okay.
And
so maybe you could tell people what the Troublemakers are.
Sure. So it's an adult chorus in Hopkinton, and we just started last night for the winter. We'll do 2 performances in December.
Do you do it through the...
it's through the HCA.
You do? Okay,
yeah.
Excellent.
So we meet at the HCA, and it's a lot of fun. We actually have a new director who we met last night, and he was awesome.
That's great.
He made it a lot of fun, and it's an eclectic group of people.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know how to read music or anything like that. I just listen to people next to me.
Right. I'm there.
And hope that their voices just carry mine. And it's just a fun, it's Wednesday nights at 7:30 from 7:30 to 9.
Fun.
And it's just one of those like nice thing for myself to do after the hustle and bustle of the family and cooking. And
you have to do something for yourself to regenerate.
You do. And it's a nice group of people, and everyone, we have a lot of laughs, which is something that I love to do.
Yes,
so,
that's
and my
wonderful.
sister just told me she just joined one, but in a different town because she doesn't live here. So it's too much of a trip for her on a Wednesday night. Her kids are a little younger than mine.
That's great. Wow. That's great. I love that. So I'm just going to gear back a little bit. If I was a client and I had a first meeting with you, how would that go?
Sure.
For personal services.
Yeah. I will meet them at their house.
Okay.
Because all of our cooking is done in their kitchens.
Okay.
And we sit down and generally start by talking about what their goals are.
Okay.
What are you looking for from me? What are you looking for in general as far as health-wise, food, family? And then we delve into a food questionnaire.
Okay.
Because I create the menus every week as a starting point for each client. So the food questionnaire really gives me an idea of what they like, what they don't like, what their restrictions are. Okay. And I mean, it's it takes us probably about 45 minutes or so. We have to go through, the different vegetables. And we even talk about, flavor profiles that they like, spicy, not spicy. How do they want things cooked? Medium rare, well done, al dente. So it's a good overview for me to kind of get to know them a little bit, so I can start creating their menus. And
so when you create the meal for them? Do you cook it and put it in the refrigerator for them, or do you put it together and then they cook it, or do you do both
So
ways?
it actually
or-
depends. I like
Okay.
to try to give clients as much choice as possible.
Okay.
It's their menu, it's their food they're eating.
Right.
And so our job is to really cater to exactly what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I'll send their menu, we go back and forth on that. And then part of that interview is asking them, do you want me to cook all your proteins, or do you want me to prep some of them? And it varies week to week.
Okay.
I just had a client, they were doing swordfish with pesto. So I made the pesto for them, but left the swordfish for them to grill. And then they had some marinated chicken tenders, and I grilled those for them.
Yeah.
Whereas some clients would say, no, I wanted, it's a beautiful week.
Right. I'll go out and grill myself.
I'll grill
Right.
the swordfish
Yeah.
the first night, and I'll
Yeah.
grill the steak tips the second
Yeah.
night. And a lot of times when things sit in marinades longer, they're much more flavorful.
Right.
So it really varies client to client.
Right.
So, and
Right.
it varies week to week,
Right.
depending on what their menu is.
So just in general, do you have any tips for people who are trying to eat a little cleaner?
Sure.
Anything, like a way to start?
It
Because it could be overwhelming.
It can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of different programs out
Yes.
there, or gyms out there that do like a monthly challenge, like kind of a kickstart thing.
Right.
Like go cold turkey on everything.
Yeah.
And, cut out the sugar, the gluten, the soy.
It's quite shocking. I don't know if I
It's,
could do that.
and you have to be you have to know yourself and know that
Right.
you'll be diligent to
Right.
really do that for a month.
Right. That's a mindset that you just got to dig in there.
Right.
And just
And it
hang
depends
to it.
on where
Yeah.
you are. Like
Right.
if you just need to clean up a little bit, like
Right.
maybe that's too overwhelming for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to know your personality
Right.
if that's realistic. Because
Right.
again,
Right.
I'm the kind of person, you tell me to take away everything. I'm
Right.
like, and I want it. I never wanted ice cream, but now I
Right.
want ice cream
Right.
because
Right.
they told me I can't. have
Right.
it.
Right.
And so it works for some people, it doesn't work for
Mm-hmm.
others. For most people, I recommend taking one or two things. Like
Okay.
for me, I know my vice is sugary drinks. I love my chai tea.
Yeah.
It's filled with sugar.
Okay.
Red Barn has my favorite up at Angel's Cafe.
Okay.
They have my favorite iced mocha latte with chocolate milk.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Lots of
That's
sugar.
right. Yeah.
And I love my wine, and in
Okay.
the summer,
Right,
so I knew for myself that the sugar was a lot of what I needed to clean out of my diet.
I see. Yeah.
And so that was something I would focus on
Right.
and try to clean
Right.
that out.
Right.
If you wanted
That
to
seems
do
easier to me. Just a little bit at a time.
yes,
To create a habit
right.
rather than just going cold turkey. I mean, it's different if you have to for diet, for health reasons.
Right,
But
totally
if you're just
different.
trying to, as a normal person, how can I, work on eating better?
Right. And I don't tell myself I can never have it again.
Right. Yeah. That's. Yeah.
I just save it for a special day or
Yeah.
for like on a Saturday. That's my day that I go up to Angel's Cafe
Yeah.
and have my iced mocha.
So is Angel's your favorite little cafe here in town?
It
Must
is.
be,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Jeff got me hooked on those iced mocha lattes with chocolate milk, and they're a recovery drink
There you
after my
go.
work,out. It's really
Okay.
how I rationalized it for a
Yes,
while.
I like that.
Yeah, but it also adds up too, money-wise. If
Yeah.
people start looking at what their vice is or their their bad habit is,
Yeah.
if it's takeout,
Yeah.
they realize how much money they're spending on takeout.
Yes.
And you have no idea what's in there.
Right.
The sodium, for some people, it's just simply starting by cutting out sodium.
Right.
It's in everything. And if
processed
you're eating a
food.
lot of
Yeah.
processed foods,
Yeah. It is.
it's in there.
amazing how much is in the processed foods.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even the sugar they sneak
Yeah.
in there.
And the gluten-free, you have to be careful because they add in a lot of that stuff to create the flavor, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it is overwhelming when people have to deal with some allergies. It's gotten a lot easier, I feel like, over the years because there are so many more products out there.
Right.
But you do have to really read your labels
Right.
because you want to find things that are the most unprocessed natural foods.
Right.
You
Right.
can easily go gluten-free by simply sticking with your vegetables and
Right.
your fruits and
Right.
your proteins and things like
Beans,
that. But if you
beans,
want
yeah.
pasta, they have a lot of great options out there.
They do. I like the chickpea gluten-free one.
That's really good, and
Yeah.
the quinoa pasta is really good too.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah,
I tried the cauliflower lentil one.
I haven't tried that one yet.
I don't-
Yeah.
Doesn't keep the noodle as
A lot of times with the
The
gluten-free
texture.
stuff, I find you have to rinse it with cold water after.
Okay, I'll
which
try
typically,
that.
like Italians, when you cook pasta, you would never rinse the pasta.
Right,
But
right.
with some of these gluten-free
you
pastas,
have
it just
to.
helps it bring the
Okay,
texture
I'll
back.
try that because I have a lot of it now because I bought it on sale.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways,
We'll talk after and
we'll
find
talk
some ways
after.
for you.
Yeah, yeah. We'll have to use that up.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what areas do you service? Obviously, Hopkinton.
Hopkinton, I mean, I pretty much travel. I'm out in Weston, Needham, Southborough, Shrewsbury,
Okay, so you go-
Medway. So I'm kind of all over
right,
the place.
right.
Which is part of one of the things I like. I like being in my,
It's
like
different
my,
every day. You're
well,
never
it's different
bored, I'm
every
sure.
day, and
Yeah.
it's quiet. Like I
Right.
blast my radio and sing
There you
and
go.
dance in the car on my way to places. and-
Nice. I like that.
Yep.
Couple last questions. So this is a Hopkinton site, and I know your favorite coffee shop now. But do you and your family have a favorite event or a place that you like to go? Obviously, you like the Hopkinton Center for the Arts because you just started
Right.
the Troublemakers.
Yep. Yeah. My dad, when he was in town, was always so good about supporting local businesses. So I think that, I don't know that I have any one particular place. I mean, I go to Resilience CrossFit.
Yeah.
You know, I'm there every day at 9
Okay,
o'clock.
right.
That's it. And my husband goes,
Okay.
and my oldest, we're hoping he might
Yeah.
kind of get into it.
Right.
They just have great programs there for everybody, no
Right.
matter what your fitness level.
Right.
It's not really your typical CrossFit. It's
Okay.
pretty awesome. And I've actually, that's my new home kitchen.
Okay.
My new home for my outside kitchen, I guess. Not this. I'm not
Okay.
going to be living there. But in order to host some of my workshops,
Oh.
not everybody. A lot of my
So
stuff
they have
is
a
in
kitchen there.
home. So they have a kitchen there, and it's really a perfect space for the meal prep workshops and snack prep workshops that I do. Because really, we just need a lot of space, an oven, and a stovetop and a sink.
I like that snack prep workshop.
Yeah, I have one
I
tonight.
thought that was very creative.
Well,
for you to come
especially
up
this
with
time
that.
of year,
Yeah.
you know, people are trying. You need to have stuff ready to go,
Right,
on the go,
right.
Especially if you're trying to clean up some things.
Right.
If you don't have some healthy snacks in between meals,
Right.
you're more apt to eat something unhealthy.
That's great.
And
That's
just
right.
grab
Very
something
true.
unhealthy.
Yeah.
And for kids, snacks. You know, I have to pack, or my kids. We're trying this year to have my kids pack their snack bags. It's just nice to have some other options and homemade options
Right.
that aren't always the packaged stuff. I
Right.
mean, those are easy and quick to throw
Right,
in, but
right.
you
And
know,
it's
I have-
more fun to do it with people, other people.
well, that's
so you're not slaving in the kitchen by
right.
yourself. on a
Well, that's
Sunday for
why
the
how
week,
the
so.
meal prep workshops came
yeah,
about
yeah.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
My twin sister was bored,
Yeah.
you know, and tired of cooking every
Right.
Sunday in her own kitchen, and I was
Right.
like, we should make this a party.
Right. Yes, that makes it much more fun.
So meal
right?
preps and snack preps were born.
Yeah,
Yep.
excellent. Your services sound fabulous,
Thank
and I can
you.
attest that she's a great cook because I had her went to her grilling workshop.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you so much for taking the time. You've been very gracious
Oh,
to,
you're very
to meet with
welcome.
me today. Thank you for watching, and if you'd like to subscribe, go to parkbench.com/Hopkinton, and we hope to see you next week.